Hey guys, good morning. It's Wednesday. It's almost noon now, but it's time for another episode of Come On Ref. I'm Chad Bryan. I'm with Aidan Vance and Ben Bales. Guys, say hi.
What's up?
What's good, everybody? How are you?
Hopefully you guys are doing good. We got a pretty good show for you today. We're going to really spend a lot of time talking about the NBA playoffs. There's so much going on. But first, I do want to mention, I started on a little bit of a sad note. Cavs owner Dan Gilbert, you guys, know his son, Nick. Obviously he was, forefront and center, at the NBA draft for a few years there. And he just kind of became like the face of the Cavs for a little while there, at least at the draft, right? He passed away this weekend at age 26. So he had struggled with a genetic condition for quite some time. So the Cavs released a statement. We can take a look at that. Again, I just wanted to acknowledge that. You can see what, and I can read it in case it's tough to read there. They say Nick was a light and inspiration to so many throughout his 26 years of life. Whether taking on his signature role as the Cavs' good luck charm during several NBA draft lotteries or using his voice to advocate in the fight against his disease, Nick's unrelenting spirit has been a driving force behind our organization. So prayers to the Gilbert families, and the Cavs and everyone who knew Nick and associated with him as they deal with that unspeakable grief.
My condolences to the family. Super hard thing to go through, obviously. I've never lost a son. I can't know what that's like. Yeah. But Nick brought a lot of joy. I mean, I watched him, secure the pick to get Kyrie Irving, who made the biggest shot in maybe Cleveland sports history. Had the biggest, play in Cleveland sports history that, seeing him cheer when they won, it was awesome. So
it was.
That's the memory I have of him. Of course, he was at all the other lotteries where we got picks we shouldn't have got. He was just a good luck charm,
Yeah, short time with us, but his legacy. I think, as Nick would say, what's not to like, right?
What's not to like?
What's not to like?
Come back from 3-1.
Yeah, okay. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. I do want to get on to the other team that's not playing anymore in our city right now, the Browns. They're doing kind of a fun thing, I think, right? They're having a kind of a social media contest for their new logo. They've been on Twitter, kind of amping this up. They've got one fan, submitted design, and then I think they've got four, it looks like four more professional. Not that they look any more professional than the fan design logo. The fan design logo was great, but I think they went with a company to design, or maybe companies to design the other four. And they're holding a vote throughout the week on Twitter. I'm not even sure how long the vote lasts, but jump over to their Twitter page, and we'll show you the logos that are up for the vote right now. They're down to 5 logos total. And
let's not overthink it, fellas.
Which one do you like, Chad?
Which one do I like? I got to be honest, man. Of those 5, I think I like the bottom right. I was looking at some of the details as they explained what was going on with this, and I don't have it all offhand, but you can see there on the middle of his chain, or he's got a little guitar pick. I mean, so many things tie into Cleveland on that bottom right one. I like that. Aidan, which one do you like?
Top left.
Top left. I like that too. Actually, that was probably my second.
I like bottom left. I mean, I'm not a Browns fan, but I like bottom left. It's simple. You get the gist of it.
That's okay. I think that's probably the least intimidating. So as a Steelers fan, I can see why you'd want to see that twice a year.
I kind of like the middle one too, though.
I like the middle one. I like the CLE in the middle one.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Yeah,
I think it's.
Oh, that's really nice. I just noticed that for the first time. I just saw that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, I think that I like the bottom right one because he looks old and grumpy, and I'm kind of old and grumpy.
That describes a Cleveland Browns fan.
Is the dog up top getting ready to swim laps or something like that, or?
I don't know. Listen, my actual favorite, I had a write-in vote. I still think we should have gone with maybe my logo. I never submitted it, but
oh Jesus Christ!
Dog the bounty hunter, right? It's perfect. It's not perfect.
Get off the show.
Okay, I'm going to leave the show. I'm not leaving the show. We can leave this topic though. We don't want to talk about this anymore, but. Get over to Twitter, vote, just whatever your favorite logo is. Whatever you want to see the Browns' new logo. If you're a Steelers fan, please don't vote on that. Ben, stay out of that, okay?
I'll go to Twitter after
just go vote.
Mind your business.
I'll go to Twitter after the show.
Yeah, just mind your business, like Aidan said. And listen, I want to move on completely out of the city of Cleveland. want to talk about something we don't talk about much: college baseball. And unfortunately, we don't really get to talk about the sport right now. Did you guys see this week? Alabama former head coach Hannon was fired for what? Like, what exactly happened there? Did you see this?
I did see it.
What was that? Okay. So Ben, explain it to us. Can you explain exactly what happened?
So basically, they were getting ready to play LSU, and they were favored to play LSU, and they had their best starter
the number one team in the nation.
Yeah, number one team in the nation, and I think Bama was unranked.
Yeah,
and they had their number one starting pitcher going, and then the day before he gets scratched due to back spasms. So Coach Brad Bohannon decides, hey, I'm going to bet on us to lose. Calls somebody he knows is a former high school baseball coach in Cincinnati, and places a $250,000 bet on Alabama to lose the game. And how it got tracked was Ohio realized that, they checked his, call records and realized that he was calling somebody from Alabama to Cincinnati wanting to place a bet on Alabama to lose.
Because it raised red flags, because typically people don't bet $250,000 on a regular season college baseball game. I mean, it's right.
And the fact that he's in Alabama calling a guy in Cincinnati to bet on Alabama to lose after his starting pitcher gets scratched.
Yeah.
And I would have laughed so hard if Bama would have won that game.
I thought about that. If they would have let it go through, and then Bama would have, beat LSU, and then they would have, levied the punishments or whatever. I thought about that. Honestly, I don't know him personally, but I don't know what your guys' opinion is, but he deserves every punishment that he gets, and then some. I don't think he should ever coach again. He should, especially youth, amateur, whatever. He should never coach again. No. This guy bet against his own kids, man. I mean, these are young adults. I get it. They're you want to call them grown men. They're 18 to 22, 18 to 23, probably. But they're still kids, man. I mean, these guys need better guidance than this in their lives, right? Like, this is an authority figure, and you wonder how many times he's done this.
Yep,
can't be the first.
No, can't be.
People don't usually bet against their own teams for the first time and drop $250,000, like, unless they're pretty comfortable, right? Like, that's.
And a lot of times, if a coach is going to bet, he bets for his team to win. That's why wouldn't you? Like, you believe in your guys.
Yeah.
This guy bet for him to lose because he knew he'd get a bunch of money because they were the favorites to win the game.
Yeah. Obviously, Bama did the right thing. They fired him immediately upon investigation. I'm sure a lot of his players had some things to say on the way out.
No doubt.
I don't know if he got an exit interview or not, but I'm sure they had some things to say to him. So
for sure.
Yeah. Let's move on from that. That's an unfortunate story. I want to get to the NBA because the playoffs are going on. There's so many things happening. We didn't even talk about last year. It's the first. I don't know if we mentioned it last week. It's the first year ever that in the second round of the playoffs, there's been a 1 through 8 seeds. Every seed is represented. That's a storyline in and of itself, right? I mean, that's pretty cool. And speaking of one of those 7 seeds, I mean, we know a guy that plays out west, and for the Lakers, they're a 7 seed. They're trying to get back to the finals, right? What do you think, Aidan? Are they set up nicely for this or no?
Yeah, I mean, what are we like? They're up 3-1 against the defending champs. In a series where they can end it pretty quickly. I mean, do I see it ending in 5? No chance. I think they're about to get ran out the gym tonight. But
it's been that kind of a series. Yeah.
It's all cool and all, but I mean, yeah, they're set up well, man. The draw they got was kind of perfect for them. Obviously, playing Memphis in the first round. Memphis had a couple injuries, and then this Warriors team isn't the same Warriors team. Obviously, Steph's great, but the rest of the guys aren't the same. And
you got to play with the Suns or the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, but for all intensive purposes, like, I don't know, man. I don't know who you'd rather play. Obviously, you're looking too far ahead. This series isn't over. I don't think it's over at all. So
no,
they're in a good spot right now. Shout out Lonnie Walker, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Lonnie.
Right.
That's my guy.
Hey, got to show up when the team needs you, right?
Steph's used to guards scoring a lot of points on him in the fourth quarter. He's had that happen to him a few times.
Well, you got to wonder if some of that is just exhaustion. I saw that the way he moves without the ball, he ends up running like at least a mile and a half every game, right?
ridiculous.
You got to wonder. I mean, I know these guys are in great shape, but I mean, it's we're almost 100 games in now. Like, at what point do your legs just go, okay, enough? You know what I mean? Like, that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
And he's not as young as he was before. And,
well, and we see it. Either of these guys are, right? It's bizarre because we've got LeBron versus Steph again, and it feels like, even though they've met in the playoffs since, I know they've met each other plenty of times since LeBron has left, since LeBron left Cleveland or whatever. But it's like part what? I don't know, a million. I don't even know.
Part 5, right?
Part 5, yeah. It feels like it's been like 20 years in between, though. It's weird.
The plan, so technically you could say part 6.
Part 6, technically, if you want to count the play-in. Yeah, you're right.
If you want to count playoffs,
without
playing, it's part 5.
I mean, it's just a battle.
It has been. Even when the Cavs got swept that one year in Cleveland, LeBron had a 30-point triple-double. Like, so I mean, like he was still balling.
Oh, so the one year you mean where he
broke his hand?
51 points in the first game, and J.R. Smith forgot what the score was.
Punched the whiteboard and broke his hand, and still comes out and drops a 30-point triple-double.
Yeah, I mean, he's the greatest to ever live. I mean, it's just what happens when you're that guy, personally. But, I mean, it's just crazy to see these guys at this age. Obviously, Steph 35, LeBron 76, I think nowadays. 39.
Seems
but
like
ridiculous. I mean, dude is they're just on a different level of like for their age. Like Steph's doing stuff that only LeBron did at that age.
Yeah.
And LeBron's doing stuff that nobody's done at that age. So it's like just seeing these guys go at it is unbelievable.
It was frustrating as all heck, man, to be a Cavs fan and watch these two guys go at it for 4 years. But I mean, now that we can kind of, maybe remove ourselves and look back on it, man, that was a treat.
It was a treat. I wish KD would have been a grown man and not went to the Warriors, but
there's something to be said for leading over following, right?
Like Draymond said, they would have never won again. So
I saw a stat. I didn't.
That's what it is.
I saw a stat. I wish I would have wrote it down or saved it. In the playoffs against LeBron, Curry's lost his last 3 or 4 games or something like that. Or last 3 or 4 playoff series against LeBron without Kevin Durant.
LeBron's 8-2 in his last 10 playoff games without Kevin Durant against Steph Curry. So
clearly Durant is a factor.
Will this be the last time we see LeBron versus Curry? In the playoffs?
Yes.
Could be.
Yeah, probably. I would guess. Obviously,
it's hard to cut these guys out.
It is.
It is. I think we might see this be if the Warriors do end up losing the series, which I'm not saying they will. This could be the end of the dynasty.
I was just going to ask you if you thought that.
It has to be.
Obviously, with Clay getting to this age, he's still a 20-point-a-game guy. I know he's been through a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Had to deal with a lot, but he's just simply not the same player, and you can't expect him to be. He's an all-time great, Hall of Famer, but he's just not who he was, and he's more of a role player now. Obviously, Draymond was maybe the best modern-day defender of all time when we're talking about what we wanted, what teams wanted in, a guy that can guard all 5 positions and be a small ball 5 center. Yeah. He was the best probably to ever do it.
And another thing that he does that I think is it gets talked about, but it's maybe talked about in a negative light sometimes. He's kind of the lightning rod. He takes all the controversy and he soaks up all that for that team so they can just kind of operate under the radar. And I think that's really, really important.
A lot of times he's portrayed as the bad guy, but when you look at situations like you said, a lot of times it's not even a lot of times he could be he is the bad guy, but sometimes like you said, somebody else on his team is the bad guy and he's like, no, that's my fault. I'll take the blame for it.
In that way he does take accountability. Now he's made some questionable decisions on and off the court. We know that. So there are certain things to be said about keeping his emotions in check. But at the end of the day, when he does slip, he does what the best thing we can hope for is just take accountability, right?
Yeah.
Ask Steve Kerr if he could skip a game to go watch LeBron break the record.
That's not even the worst one.
That's not the worst one.
He knocked out Jordan Poole in that practice.
That's the worst one.
Did he get suspended for that? I can't remember.
Not really. Speaking of Jordan Poole,
it was handled internally.
He's been terrible this playoffs after getting, I believe it's 4 years, $123 million.
Something
if I'm not mistaken.
Something big.
Yeah.
Pretty much a max if you're a rookie max.
Yeah.
Max scale guy.
Yep.
He hasn't been the same player this year at all. I mean, he's been super inefficient. He's a very, very bad defender, borderlining on unplayable in the playoffs defensively.
Yep.
And we were talking, and the Warriors were talking about bridging this gap. I believe they drafted Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga.
I think you've got to build around those guys.
Can't build around those guys if they can't get on the floor in the playoff series. And they were talking about bridging the gap with Poole and those two guys and Wiseman. Wiseman's gone. Kuminga's not getting minutes in the playoffs. Moody's getting spot minutes as a rotation guy. He looks like a good rotational player at the very least. And Poole looks like a guy you can't play in the playoffs. This doesn't look like a bridging of the gap. This looks like the bridge broke and now there's nothing there. It looks like this is the end for the Warriors. As long as these guys can go, as long as Steph can go, is it. There's no bridge there.
Yeah, they for sure have an infrastructure problem with the bridges, man.
I kind of compare it to the Patriots dynasty, kind of how that fell apart. You know, they end up losing to the Titans in the last playoff game, and everybody's saying, "Oh, Brady's going to leave." He ends up leaving. Do I think any of the Warriors players leave Curry or Thompson? Probably not. But the way that they're falling apart, like Aidan said, it's like the bridge is already burned down. Like there's no saving it at this point.
Yeah, I think if they lose in 5, I think they're going to take a hard look at that roster and see.
I agree.
What they can do to and not blow it up, but just make some change. You got to do something.
Yeah, isn't Draymond due for an extension?
He won't get an extension.
He's eligible for one.
He's eligible for one. He has a player option, I believe, for 30 that he can accept or decline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Clay's also up for an extension, and I'm pretty sure they say he expects the Supermax just out of loyalty.
I don't think the smart money for Draymond would be to decline that option and bet on himself here. Do you think that's a good idea?
No, I don't think it's the smart option, but I do think if he wants to go chase rings, I think he could most definitely do that. I think he could go.
Just have to take less money.
Team up with LeBron.
He don't shoot.
That is true. He doesn't shoot.
Just
follow KD. Go to Phoenix. It's still out west. It's right there. Fine.
Philly, Boston might need a guy.
Yeah.
It's just there's places he could go that said, oh, maybe he tries to go team up with Dame in Portland to try to help him out. There's multiple things that can be done. You just got to see where it goes.
It's an intriguing situation because Draymond, he got a lot of credit for making those Warriors teams run, and then on the other side, a lot of people gave those Warriors teams and Steve Kerr specifically credit for kind of fitting Draymond into that. So we'll see. We'll see where he ends up, and if he ends up with a coach that can utilize him, or if he, utilizes himself the way he has with the Warriors. We'll see. It's something you said with Jordan Poole. I know you're going to get into it tomorrow on your car thoughts. I'm excited to hear it because he's just been sort of not good, and I want to hear you get more into depth on that.
No doubt. I think Wiggins needs more isolation plays called for him if they wanted success. They need to make him. I agree. I mean, like Hoodie Jello saying, Wiggins was an all-star starter last year. I know people have some things to say about that.
We're always going to be bitter here about Wiggins.
He's still a really good player. Obviously, a first overall pick, a 20 game a guy in Minnesota. He's a guy, especially with LeBron guarding him, you at least want to waste LeBron's energy right on the defensive end. So I agree.
Use his legs up.
Yeah.
Use his legs.
Is he their second best starting defender behind Draymond?
Oh, not even close.
Now the other side of that, I will say from Hoodie Jello, Jordan Poole's got to be willing to be an off the ball guy. He hasn't been agreeable. There's been some rumblings that's maybe a little tension in the locker room, and like I said, you can get into that tomorrow. We can talk about, or you can talk about that tomorrow. I do want to wrap this up, though. I mean, again, this is it's the Western Conference semifinals or whatever. I mean, Lakers are up 3-1. Game 5 tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
Tonight at 10 on TNT. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Wednesday, even though we're doing the show. The week's flying on me. I don't think the Warriors lose tonight. I don't think that series ends tonight. But if it does, like I said, I think there's a long, hard look into that roster and how it's constructed and what they can do going forward.
Is it in Golden State or in LA?
Golden State.
Warriors win that game.
Yeah, they're good at home. And I want to talk about we talked about LeBron and how he's doing it, at age 76 or whatever. So there seems to be just a lot of let's put it this way. LeBron's a polarizing guy, right? You either love him or you hate him. There's no middle ground really with him. So what's with cherry picking LeBron? Because Aidan, you brought up to me like some of his clutch stats, right? Like how clutch he's been in the playoffs in his career. So I did a search. I said, let's go to Google and just see what happens when I put in LeBron clutch, right? Let's bring up the graphic. I want to show you the first. This is the 2 top results that I found. How can both of these things be? Do you see what LeBron James has only made 19 of 107, right? Struggled throughout his career to make clutch shots during the regular season. Okay, we cherry picked that regular season stat to make him look like he's not clutch, right?
Yep.
Fine, whatever that is. But then you go down here, and according to the Sports Rush, LeBron James is more clutch than Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Steph Curry. So why do people do this? Like, what are we doing to LeBron, man? Like, can we not just appreciate his greatness?
Listen, if LeBron walked on water, they'd say it was because he can't swim. It's that simple. I mean, if we're gonna keep it a buck, there will never be a right for LeBron.
We've never seen a player as good as LeBron for as long as he's been and as clutch as he's been. That's why people hate on him, because either one, he's hit a dagger on your team that sent him home. 2, he's won a championship on you, or 3, you just dislike the guy. One of the 3.
Yeah, LeBron has the most clutch points ever.
Yeah.
If we want to talk about it, most clutch points ever. Second most go-ahead shots at 82. I believe Kobe has the lead at 89. He has 5.
Yeah, we've got plenty of other graphics. I mean, we can show LeBron. I mean, yeah, let's look at another one. I mean, look at the shot to take the lead in the last 30 seconds of the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs. I mean, there's some pretty good players on that list. Look at that shooting percentage compared to some other guys.
Oh, I mean, he's the most efficient clutch game scorer ever to live. I mean, he can get to whatever shot he wants to. He's bigger and stronger and faster than you are. And he's most likely, I know people say Bron don't got a bag or whatever, but he's more skilled than you. I mean, he's got the most playoff buzzer beaters ever. He shoots at a better percentage on the last shots of games than Michael Jordan, then Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's a proven fact at this point. You can't argue it. But there's different ways to be clutch also. LeBron got a lot of hate for passing out of situations, making the right play instead of making the hard play, right? You can argue that. That's fair, I guess.
The one that comes to mind was that Danny Green one when they're in the bubble.
I mean, yeah, that happens. But if I'm in a double team, I'm going to pass it to a dude who shoots 40% for his playoff career.
Wide open.
But, that'll always get some flack. Yeah. And I understand that. But if you want to bring that flack up, you got to also bring up that he has more than Michael Jordan, all those stats, and people don't really want to talk about that. So that is what it is. To me,
so LeBron's clutch. We know that. I don't think there's any. I mean, you can skew the stats, you can cherry pick, you can do whatever you want to make him look bad. It's funny to me that people will say that like the all-time points record is that's a compiling stat. He piled on. He played so many games, but then they'll also tell you that he's missed the most playoff shots of anyone in the history of the NBA. But that's not because he's played so many playoff games. That's just because he's terrible. Like we gotta stop this.
He passed Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in career points with less field goal attempts than both of them.
Yeah.
But it is what it is,
Efficiency,
He averages more points in his career than Kobe on better efficiency. Is what it is once again.
He's also a better rebounder. He's a better passer.
There's a lot of guys on the top 10 scoring list, top 5 and all that stuff. There's 5, 10 guys, right? There's only one guy that's top 5 in both scoring and assists.
If LeBron,
he's 1 and 4, so
pretty impressive.
If LeBron would have focused on solely scoring, and it was like Jordan, Kobe, and us with 30 a game, he would have broken the record 4 or 5 years ago, probably 3 years ago. Like like Aiden said, he's a better. There's only one player in NBA history that's top 5 in points and assists, and that's LeBron.
That's it. Like, how do you deny that?
Like, not only does he go out there and win you games by scoring 40 points, he'll go out there and drop you 10 assists, and somebody else will score 30 as well. So it's like, how can you deny that he's not?
There's just not many guys that can do that. I mean, history, active, whatever. I think the point is, come on, ref. Our stance is LeBron's good, right?
He's okay.
He's okay. What else is going on in the NBA? There's nothing at all. Listen, so the Heat and Knicks. We could talk about that, I guess, if you want.
How far?
You know what I want to do first? No, let's not do that. I know I have the Heat Knicks graphic up. Let's not do that. I'm going to change it up on you. let's talk about. I want to go to the Western Conference. I want to go to the other semifinal out west. Okay, let's do that because the West never gets talked about. Nuggets and Suns. Plenty of stuff going on here. Aidan, what are your thoughts on this series?
Just a really good series so far. Obviously, Jokic has proven who he is. I think he's kind of separated himself as the clear best center in the NBA. People like to have that conversation. I'm pretty sure that conversation's pretty dead now. Yeah. He's just super skilled. That Nuggets team, man, if you could build a perfect team around Nikola Jokic, I'm pretty sure it'd be what they have right now.
Yeah, they've done it.
Aaron Gordon, elite defender, really good cutter, guard multiple positions to cover up for Nikola Jokic. Then you got Jamal Murray, a shot-making point guard. KCP, a 3-and-D wing who's got championship experience. It's just all adds up.
It does.
It's pretty easy to see that these guys just know how to play ball together. And then you have obviously guys like Michael Porter Jr., who's a 6'10", just sharpshooter, flamethrower type of guy.
Yeah, finally healthy, man. Finally, really healthy and able to contribute. Yeah.
And they just have a deep team. They have Christian Braun coming off the bench. What a find late in the first round.
Yeah.
Played really good defense on KD and Book. Bruce Brown, also a good defender and just a really good player at this stage of his career. And then you got old man Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff, still playing good minutes, still taking minutes on KD like he's done his entire career, except when they're playing together. So that team is just way better team than the Suns. The Suns have two supernovas, but the thing with the Suns right now is only one of them's really being a supernova. If you go look at it, KD is just not shooting the ball efficiently right now. Even in the games he's scoring a lot, he's not scoring it efficiently. The game he had 39 when Booker had 47, he was 12 for 31.
Yeah.
He's just not shooting it well. He hasn't shot it well from three. He was 2-11 that game from three.
Yeah.
That's
not the volume as far as shooting goes.
And the thing with that is the roster, what they had to trade away to get KD, right?
Yeah.
If those guys aren't shooting it great, they're going to have nights where they don't shoot it great because of the shot diet they have.
Yeah.
They're big in the mid-range pull-ups. And a lot of mid-range pull-ups against the defense they're going against Aaron Gordon and against KCP and Bruce Brown and Christian Braun are going to be contested pull-ups. Some of those games you're not going to shoot it great, and that's okay. But you don't have the guys to make that okay. So if they're not making shots, it's over.
Yeah, they don't have the talent to hang. Listen, Denver looked so good in that fourth quarter. Like I was watching the game and I'm like, okay, this is probably the quarter where the Suns will make a little run, right? It felt like going into the fourth, that's what was going to happen. And I mean, the Nuggets shut it down so quick, and it just reminded me of like watching the Showtime Lakers back in the day, man. Just the passing and the movement without the ball. I mean, it's like you said, it's like they've built the perfect team around Jokic, and they're going to be really tough to beat. Yeah,
super tough team to beat. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in Phoenix. I had this going 7. Not sure who I had winning, but I'm pretty sure it's Denver in 7 at this point. I'm pretty sure maybe each team will take their home games.
Yeah, I think either the Nuggets or the Suns are going to win the series. So I'm going out on a limb.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a hot take time, right? Hot take. One of these two teams is going to win this series. And I do want to talk about Jokic for a minute because I think it's funny. When I watch him play, like I never could quite put my finger on like what it was, but sometimes like I think it's funny. He's like one of the nicest guys in the NBA. I think Giannis is up there as well. He's just so personable, but he just looks like he doesn't want to be on the floor. It's so funny to me, man. Like he just looks like he's being forced to be out there. Like, all right, I got to go over here. Fine, I'll go over here. Whatever, I'll block this shot. Fine, it went out of bounds. It just looks like he doesn't care. And then they'll just casually drop, 50, 20, and 20 on you, no problem.
It almost looks like he was forced into the job like by his parents or something. Like, Mom, I don't want to do this.
But you're tall. Right.
Yeah, but you're going to go. Like it. But then, like he's going to come out and he'll score 53 on your head. And you're like, this dude just scored 53?
Yeah.
He can't move.
Yeah, the dude can barely jump.
It's unreal. It's unbelievable. And you know what I like about him too is nobody really can push him around. Except one guy tried. Suns owner Matt Ishbia. What was he thinking trying to push Jokic around? What was he doing? Like taking the ball away from him? What was that? What happened there?
I don't know what that is. That's terrible.
Trying to intimidate him.
Some fans maybe get too much into the game and lose their head. You're pushing a 7'1", 290-pound man. really all Jokic did was nudge him.
Yeah.
He's just 7'1", 290. So that nudge feels like you just got hit by a horse.
Yeah. When you're 5'8", 160 or whatever. Yeah.
But yeah, stick to buying the teams, not trying to be on it.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah. Maybe don't initiate contact. Let's not do that. That's and to give Jokic credit. I don't think Jokic knew who it was.
No, he said it didn't matter who it was. They was going to get.
It didn't matter. He's exactly right. It didn't matter. And I thought this was going to become a thing. Like I thought, okay, well now we've got this like built-in rivalry in this series. Like these guys, it's going to get heated. It's going to get chippy. But apparently that's not. We know that's not who Jokic is, and apparently that's not who Matt Ishbia is. He tweeted that he didn't want Jokic to get suspended. Thought it was a great series. Just wanted that to be the storyline. And they actually made up. I don't know if you guys saw this. I've got the video. We can take a look at it here. It's kind of funny. A couple little, some funny things happened, I think. But what do you think Ishbia was thinking? Like, here comes Jokic, whatever. And then you see the handshake, whatever, gives him the ball. It's fine. But I want to, break this down. I want to, there he goes off in the locker room. What do you think? What's going through Ishbia's head right here? Like,
right there, he's like, oh, he's giving me the ball. Right before that, when he was walking up, he was like, I'm about to die.
Right. Right. Like they're making eye contact, and Ishbia's just got to be like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That has to be a scary situation. I would have took off.
I think Jokic, because didn't the whole thing start because Ishbia was trying to get the ball from Jokic?
No, Jokic was trying to get the ball from Ishbia.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Jokic kind of tossing the ball to Ishbia was kind of like an obvious, like, here, like you can get the ball back, like have the ball back.
The joke. Here, you can have the ball. Right.
Yeah. And then Jokic said after the game with the TNT crew, that I was hoping he would pay my fine, but he didn't.
It's funny. I think they both can afford it, probably.
No doubt.
They'll be okay. That's all right. Oh, I don't know. I'll move on. But yeah, the Nuggets are up 3-2 in that series. They looked so impressive. Game 6, Thursday night, 7:00 on ESPN.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna watch. The Nuggets are so much fun to watch. I'm gonna try to catch that game as much as I can, putting the kids to bed, things like that. But yeah, they look really, really good. Really, really good.
Yep.
Let's move to a series that maybe kind of depresses us a little bit. It's this first Eastern Conference series. We were going to talk about it a minute ago, and I decided to put it off. The Knicks and the Heat, okay? So what is happening here? The Heat are up 3-1 on the team that just came and, mollywopped the Cavs, right? Like, just made them look ridiculous.
2 words.
Yeah,
Jimmy
how?
Buckets.
I don't know
Jimmy
if it's
Buckets.
that.
It's some of that.
Some of that. The Knicks pushed around a team that was young, never been to the playoffs before.
Yeah.
They tried to push around Jimmy. That ain't gonna happen. They tried to push around Bam. We know that ain't gonna happen.
Nope.
They tried to push around Kyle Lowry. We know that ain't gonna happen.
That dude's a bulldog.
They just can't push them around like they pushed us around. Pretty much.
That's it.
They grown men.
Yeah.
You ain't playing kids no more. You're playing grown men.
It's a team that has finals experience too from just a couple of years ago.
Let's keep it as simple can be. Our best player is better than your best player, and it's not close.
Yep.
It's not close.
Our second best player is better than your second best player. He's guarding him, and it's not close.
Yeah.
Because Julius Randle can't get off a shot against Bam. So what are we talking about? And then, you guys are supposed to have the good role players. Our role players are going to dog you out because you guys aren't tough enough.
To be fair, these are all the things we thought about the Cavs going into the series. Maybe not the toughness part, but we thought, the Cavs, our top 4 better than your top 4. We thought
that's what we thought.
Yeah,
that's what we thought. We didn't know Michael Jordan had an illegitimate kid named Jimmy Butler,
and the Heat without one of their best shooters in Tyler Hero. And they're still able to. They're still able to win games.
Max Strus is shooting that thing.
He stepped up.
Gabe Vincent's played well.
Dude, what happened to Duncan Robinson though? Like, the dude just hasn't seen minutes.
It's just expectations rise.
Yeah.
So does pressure.
Yeah. Matchups change in the playoffs. I mean, things like
known for defense too, really.
Yeah. Well, he's a bad defender.
Yeah.
Well, he went from being this dude was in the G League. This dude barely made the summer league roster to here's $70 million. You got to be that guy. You got to be the 40% 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Still with those weaknesses that any good coach is going to exploit in the playoffs. I mean, you can't see
minutes.
Yeah.
And like he said, Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's son.
That's it, man.
I do agree with you, Liddy Jello. Show the next one down. Yeah, I do want to talk about this. Are more aggressive than Jared and Evan Mobley. Yeah, I agree. Evan Mobley.
For right now,
there's just physical limitations. I think with Evan, especially he's 210.
Listen, I want to say this about Mobley. While we're on Mobley, I want to say this. Typically, you see a guy get drafted. What do you go, 2, 3 overall? I can't remember. 3 overall. Okay, so he went 3rd overall. When you see a guy go 3rd overall, what do they normally have before they get to the playoffs? They normally have some time, right?
Yeah.
They go to a bad organization. They're kind of under the radar. They get to develop kind of out of the limelight. Now, I know Cleveland's not a huge market, maybe not, the national spotlight or whatever, but there's a lot of heat on the Cavs. I mean, there's a lot of local, heat on the Cavs. I mean, people want to see him develop. People want to see him win. I think Mobley's feeling that a little bit. And I don't think it's really fair to him to expect him in year 2 to be the guy. I think that the more I think about it, the more he maybe does get a little bit of a pass.
I mean, Mobley's first year, they made the play-in, right? Lost to.
Yeah.
I mean, Mobley's just a winning player, NBA player. Obviously, the Jared Allen part is a lot bigger. He had the Mitchell Robinson assignment and just has been bodied up.
Yeah.
In that situation. But like Mitchell Robinson against Kevin Love hasn't been the same. Like Kevin Love, obviously, Chad talked about it, man. I said, we didn't really need him.
Yeah, I thought he could help.
Kevin Love, man, he can help. He's a really good rebounder, boxes out well. Yeah, you need hustle players like Highsmith. I agree, but the boxing out of Mitchell Robinson, it has totally disinterested him. Being that physical with him has disinterested him, and Jared Allen couldn't do that, and that hurts.
I think the Cavs just looked like a lot of guys who were confused about what their exact role was. They looked a little bit intimidated, and that's okay. They're going to listen. They're going to get older. They're going to get better. You hope. But I want to move on. The Heat are up 3-1, right? Game 5 is tonight, correct?
Yeah.
7 p.m. TNT.
Yeah, that one's about over.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe that's. You think they close that out tonight?
I'll bet on it.
Yeah,
okay.
I think Heat win.
All right. Okay.
Guaranteed.
Let's move on. The last series, the one we haven't talked about, Sixers Celtics. As far as entertainment, it's been kind of like a little bit of a clunker of a series. Compared to the other 3, there's just more storylines.
Yeah.
What do you think?
This one is tough because of a couple reasons. The Celtics could have ended this in 4.
Yes, they could have.
Harden is best against switches. What did you give him game 1? Switches.
Yeah.
You let him play against Al Horford for the game for no reason. Just to let him play for the game. Yeah. He wins the game against you. You go into game 2, you win it. You go into game 3, you win it. Okay, we're doing good. You blow game 4. You help off Joel Embiid when there's no need to help because you're up 2. If Joel Embiid lays the ball in, you live.
He's the MVP.
What are you doing leaving the corner?
Right.
That's the easiest 3-pointer in the NBA. And it's James Harden. He's got 39 points.
Man.
What are you doing?
Man. I can't wait to hear you get more in depth. I hear the anger, man. I hear it coming out.
And then you guys go get stomped at home. Yeah. I mean, just put out.
Yeah.
Now you're down 3-2 going back to Philly. That place going to be rocking. I know them dudes choke a lot, but we'll see what happens this series.
We will see what happens.
You set yourself up for failure, and it's all on you because you guys have been lazy.
Right. Ben, any last thoughts? You got a couple of quick seconds. Yeah. Exactly. As you see who did Jaylen Brown has been very snooze, man. Very snooze.
He's been up and down. But Tatum shot it awful this series.
Yeah.
They're not getting stomped. I mean, Embiid, was literally stomping on top of Celtics players' heads. So I mean, it's
that was crazy.
Like either way, both teams are getting stomped. Either way you look at it.
Fair.
Yeah, it's just really interesting to see what's going on there. I think this series could have really been over in 4, and now they might lose the series.
Yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, right now, Sixers are up 3-2.
You think that? Who do you guys think wins tonight? Goes to game 7, or you think the Sixers end it tonight?
They better.
I thought it was Thursday.
Tomorrow.
They better.
The game actually is at 7:30 on Wednesday, Thursday. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's Thursday night at 7:30 SPM. But the Sixers go back up. They're up 3-2. We'll see what happens.
You got to end it at home. If you don't, then you're double.
Yeah.
I think you have to. If you're Philadelphia, that's their best shot. That's the NBA. Like I said, you're going to get more in depth tomorrow on your car thoughts. I know I'm looking forward to seeing that. We'll talk about numbers. We'll talk about some different matchups and things like that. Or you will. I don't know. I'm not part of it. But you'll do that tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I want to move on now because, guys, it's come on ref list time. I mean, how much fun are these things? What are we talking about today? What do you guys want to do? We're going to talk about the the Mount Rushmore of centers, right?
Yeah.
All-time NBA centers.
I mean, I got to be number one, right?
Well,
I think so.
5'6".
Yeah. I think
5'9",
so.
actually. 5'9". On a good day.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I photoshopped the whole thing. I had Mount Rushmore. I had a bunch of faces on it. I didn't like the way it looked. I'm not going to use it for the show, but you guys saw it. It was terrifying. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do we think? I mean, I guess while we talk about this, we can watch a bunch of highlights of centers, man. Like some of the better ones. I don't think these are necessarily like, the Mount Rushmore, the top 4, but these are guys that could be in the discussion if whatever, right?
Prime Dwight was the reason this came up because in pre-show we were talking about is Jokic going to be on the Mount Rushmore?
Yeah.
Ben, who do you have on your Mount Rushmore center?
I definitely think you got to have Hakeem the Dream.
Yeah, that's where you got to start, right? Almost.
I definitely think
maybe not. No, maybe not. Okay, because Kareem, I don't know. It's just tough, man.
Well, my top 4, obviously, it's everybody's opinion, but I think mine would be, top 4. I think it'd be Hakeem, Shaq, Kareem, and then if I had to do 4th, we're going based off like just pure athletically gifted and talented. I'd probably put Prime Dwight in there because he was different.
Wow.
He was different.
Okay, but did he do it long enough to be top? I mean, Mount Rushmore though.
I'm younger than you guys. So, like, I didn't really watch a lot of the centers that you guys watch. Like, if we're going based off like who I like. Okay. It was Prime Dwight. Okay.
Who do you think I watched, Ben? Don't answer that. Don't answer
Russell.
That. Yeah, don't answer that. Well, interesting. He's on my Mount Rushmore, but I did it for the winning. I actually never saw him play. Disclaimer: I'm not 100 years old.
That would have probably been able to handle Jokic. That dude in Orlando, Prime Dwight, was that guy.
Yeah. Before he hurt his back. Yeah.
Before he hurt his back. But my Mount Rushmore is pretty simple.
He took the Magic to the final.
Kareem, I think is a top 3 player ever.
Yep.
I think it goes Bron, Michael, Kareem in that order.
That's fair.
It goes. Then I go to Hakeem. I think he's the best defensive center of all time.
Yeah.
Also, everybody tries to learn his footwork and his post moves.
Yeah, it's crazy when you guards going to a center for footwork. Like that's.
Yep.
Shaq, obviously the most dominant player ever to be seen. Nobody could ever handle him, and ever. Like there's just not aliens that could handle that dude. And then I go Wilt. I know the times are different, and it was kind of, you want to talk about playing against plumbers and mailmen, but Wilt was a 7-footer who could run, jump, at 100 point in the game. I mean, you go every stat is first player to do this since Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah, and listen, I think that to a certain extent, I think the talent, I think it translates, right? Like, I mean, it's
Wilt would have still been a good player.
Yep, I agree.
So that's what the 4 I go with. Not my 4 favorite, but I think the 4 best.
Yeah, 4 best. We pretty much agree on all this. I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, obviously, for just the total body of work. Like you said, Olajuwon for all the reasons you mentioned. I mean, defense and the post moves. I mean, like you said, I mean, everybody is so influenced by Hakeem Olajuwon in one way or another that he's got to be up there. Shaq for the physical domination for however long he played. I mean, even when he was past his prime, he was still basically physically dominant. Didn't jump the way he used to be able to. But I can remember watching him at LSU, and I just he was ridiculous in college. I mean, it was absurd how different he looked on the floor. I mean, it was absolutely. And there's a guy, by the way, Moses Malone, criminally underrated. He might be my 5th, honestly. If he didn't make the Mount Rushmore, Moses Malone might be my 5. And then I've got Bill Russell for the winning, man. Bill Russell just didn't do anything but win,
Bill Russell's one of the greats.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much agree on that, man. We're pretty close.
Some honorable mentions, guys like David Robinson. There's some great ones in there, man. Especially in the 90s. Obviously, you didn't get to see some guys that could have developed. Ralph Sampson got hurt when they could have been the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
Fun fact about no. Go ahead.
Sorry, my bad.
Fun fact about David Robinson. Speaking of him,
There he is right there too.
He wanted to join the Navy as a submarine specialist.
As a submarine, he's that tall. He would.
So he went to the Naval Academy, and ended up growing like it was like 9 inches or something like that. So he was too tall. So he took his talents to the basketball court.
Yeah.
He took his talents to the basketball court and became arguably one of the best centers ever.
If you want to watch
Michael Jordan, you see that.
If you want to watch what Giannis would look like in like the 90s, it's David Robinson.
That's fair.
Like that athletic, that fast.
Yeah.
You know how he was built.
Like he was
a different dude.
He was a guard until he gained all those inches in college and to his height, and
and he was so consistent. He was so good for so long, and then they went right to Tim Duncan, and it was like, what happened here? Like it was crazy how that happened.
Mr. Fundamental.
Mr. Fundamental.
Yeah, man. The Spurs.
Has anybody got anything for the chat for the top 4 ever? You know.
Yeah, that's tough, man. Anything? Anybody?
Will is the best athlete ever, in my opinion. Up there with Jim Thorpe and Bo Jackson.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Now
that's a bold take. I like it. Okay.
That's a bold take. I like it.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I like it.
I don't agree, but I like it.
That's okay. That's okay.
Jim Thorpe can't guard me, so I don't know if he's the best athlete ever.
Well, he's been dead for quite a while, so
I know.
You could shake him.
In his prime.
Okay, his prime. Oh, that's different. Okay.
Bo Jackson's different, dude. That dude.
Bo Jackson's one of the best athletes ever. That's not a concept. I mean, baseball. You don't want to know a funny fact about Bo Jackson, though. Never rushed for 1,000 yards.
Yeah. Well, the reason why is Marcus Allen. They had that 2-headed monster. He didn't have to. It's just the Raiders were so good. I mean, how did they never win a Super Bowl with those two guys back there? Jay Schrader at quarterback, Tim Brown at receiver. They had no defense, but that's okay. Listen, we probably ought to wrap this up. I mean, I don't think anybody even comes close to our post moves or our defense, but we're almost 50 minutes in. But guys, before we go, I do want to mention one thing, a little bit of housekeeping here, okay?
Uh-oh.
I want to wish a very, very, very special happy birthday to our producer, Byron Coats.
Happy birthday to you.
Are we singing? We just lost 20 subscribers. Anyway, that's okay. Yeah, Byron, happy birthday, man. We appreciate everything you do for the show and everything you do for us in general, and hope you're having a great day. Man.
Awesome guy. Great guy to be around. Thank you for everything, Byron.
Of course.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us, guys. I'm your host, Chad Bryan. I've had Aidan Vance and Ben Bales with me as always. We'll see you next time, guys. Say bye-bye.
Peace out, yo.
Thanks for watching, guys.